Long before the green parades and celebrations, a young boy lived quietly along the rugged coast of Roman Britain. His name was Patrick, and at the time, no one could imagine his story would one day change history. He spent his days near the sea, growing up in a peaceful village surrounded by wind, waves, and simple life. But one terrible night, everything changed when raiders from across the sea attacked the village without warning. Homes burned, villages ran in fear, and the young boy was captured and taken away by the attackers. Patrick was forced onto a ship and carried across the dark sea to a distant and unfamiliar land. That land was Ireland, where he would spend years living as a captive far from his home. He was forced to work as a shepherd, alone in the cold hills, watching over sheep in the wild countryside. Day after day, he walked through wind and rain, surrounded by nothing but empty fields and endless green hills. Loneliness filled those quiet hills, and the young captive had nothing but time to think about his life. During those long days, Patrick began to pray, searching for hope in the silence of the hills. Slowly, his faith grew stronger, giving him the courage to endure the years of isolation. One night, as he slept beside a small fire under the stars, something strange happened. Patrick later said he had a dream, and in that dream, a voice spoke clearly to him. The voice told him that the time had come to escape. When he awoke, Patrick felt certain that he needed to leave immediately. Quietly, under the cover of darkness, he began his dangerous journey across the land. He ran across hills and valleys, traveling farther than he had ever gone before. For days he walked across the vast Irish landscape, exhausted but determined to find freedom. The journey was long and dangerous, but he refused to give up. Finally, after traveling hundreds of kilometers, Patrick reached the coastline. Standing on the shore, he looked out across the endless sea with hope. Nearby, he found a ship preparing to sail, and he begged the sailors to take him with them. At first they refused, but eventually they allowed him to come aboard. As the ship sailed away, Patrick watched the distant land slowly disappear behind the horizon. After many years away, he finally returned home to Roman Britain. But Patrick's story was far from over. During the years that followed, he studied religion and devoted his life to faith. Then something surprising happened. Patrick decided to return to Ireland, the very place where he had once been a slave. This time, he returned not as a captive, but as a missionary. He traveled through villages and countryside, teaching people about Christianity. To explain his message, Patrick used a small plant that grew across the island. The plant was the shamrock, a simple clover with 3 small leaves. He used its 3 leaves to explain the idea of the Holy Trinity. Over time, the shamrock became one of the most famous symbols of Ireland. Legends also say that Patrick drove every snake out of the island. According to the story, he forced them to flee into the sea. Historians believe this story may actually symbolize the end of old beliefs in Ireland. Whatever the truth may be, Patrick's influence spread across the land. Centuries later, people began celebrating his legacy every year. Today, St. Patrick's Day is celebrated across the world, with parades, music, and green everywhere. From a kidnapped boy to a symbol remembered for centuries, the story of Patrick continues to inspire millions.